Part 2. I was a little surprised. Instead of yelling or arguing, she actually tried to explain it away. Her excuse was terrible, but if it had been before, I would have believed her. I nodded silently. She breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that I had let it go, and smiled as she wrapped her arm around my shoulders. That's more like it. A real lawyer knows how to stay composed. Don't be dramatic about quitting. How about dinner at Moonlight Bistro tonight? It'll be my treat to make it up to you. I didn't respond, and she took my silence as a sign of agreement. I had wanted to say goodbye properly, but the urge to open up faded. I no longer felt the need to tell her that I was moving back to Elbridge. Rachel. Ethan pushed the door open without knocking. Startled, Rachel immediately let go of me. Ethan gave an awkward smile. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I really need your help. I don't understand this case at all. Without hesitation, Rachel walked over to him, took the file, and gently asked what he didn't understand. Her voice was soft and patient as she did so. Ethan stood close, leaning in while the two of them whispered to each other like I wasn't even there. It was as if a wall had gone up between us. Then, Ethan took Rachel's hand and led her out. As he closed the door behind them, he glanced back and gave me a smug smile. The room fell silent except for my own breathing. A second later, the jade signet ring on my finger suddenly slipped off and fell on the floor. Rachel had given it to me on our 1-year anniversary. She said she wanted our relationship to be like that ring, complete and lasting. Although it wasn't something a man would typically wear, I put it on every day. I stood there quietly for a long time. Then, ignoring the pain from the sharp broken edge cutting into my hand, I picked up the pieces. Along with the last bits of attachment I had left, I threw everything into the trash. After I firmly submitted my resignation to Harrison, I returned to my desk to wrap up the last of my tasks. Gwen Yarrow, a colleague I had always gotten along with, looked visibly reluctant to see me go. Liam, are you really leaving? She asked. That means that I'll have to watch those two shameless people flirt in front of me every single day. I followed her gaze. Rachel was leaning over Ethan's desk, explaining a case to him. A moment later, Ethan seemed to pout after being gently scolded by her. To cheer him up, Rachel suddenly pulled out a Rolex watch and handed it to him. Ethan immediately lit up and happily put it on. Then, he finally looked over and met my eyes. He jumped to his feet and quickly explained, Liam, nothing is going on between Rachel and me. This is just a regular watch. The room instantly grew quiet. Everyone looked between the two of us. In our 5 years of dating, Rachel had never given me a single expensive gift. They all thought, just like she did, that I was from some small rural town and wouldn't know a designer brand if I saw one. People looked at me with pity. Even Gwen, who stood beside me, muttered angrily under her breath, you two are still together, and they're playing you like a fool. I placed a hand on her arm and shook my head, trying to calm her down and prevent her from causing a scene. Then, I looked back at Ethan and calmly said, that watch looks good on you. It suits you. He seemed surprised that I wasn't angry and quickly added, Liam, I swear, it's just a regular watch. Please don't be upset. But I wasn't, not even a little. I had plenty of watches like that back home in Elbridge. Rachel frowned and got to her feet. Liam, stop being ridiculous. I let out a quiet sigh and shook my head again. I'm really not upset. You all need to stop assuming things about me, I said calmly. Rachel seemed taken aback by my composure, then scoffed under her breath. You had better mean that. She sat back down next to Ethan. Gwen leaned toward me and quietly asked, are you just going to let them off that easily? I shrugged as I sorted my documents. Yeah, I've already decided to end our relationship. I just haven't told her yet. We had held 52 weddings and not one of them happened. I was tired. After work, Rachel actually came over to help me pack up my things. Let's go. I booked a table for 8 p.m. at Moonlight Bistro.